Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at an ancient Slavic myth, but we're not going to treat it like a simple fairy tale. Nope, we're going to look at it like a case study, a kind of protocol for how an ancient culture managed its relationship with the natural world.
So you gotta ask yourself, are these myths just old campfire stories, relics from a superstitious past?
Or are they something way more important? Could they actually be a sophisticated rulebook for survival, encoded in the most durable format humanity has ever come up with, a story?
And that's really the heart of what we're digging into today. We're about to meet a figure who isn't just some monster hiding in the woods, but a key player, a regulator, maintaining both ecological and social balance. So let me introduce you to the Leshy. In Slavic folklore, this guy is the master of the woodlands. But you gotta forget any idea of a simple forest demon. Think of him more like an enforcer, the guardian of an ancient, unwritten environmental code. To really get the law, you have to understand the lawmaker, right? So let's build a profile of this guardian, because believe me, his characteristics aren't just random details. They're the very source of his authority. So the Leshy's whole look is tied directly to his domain, the forest. He's often this towering humanoid figure with skin like tree bark, green hair, and these really unsettling, glowing emerald eyes. Some stories even say his blood is blue. But his most incredible power is shape-shifting. He can shrink down to the size of a blade of grass or grow taller than the highest trees. That right there shows his total command over the forest. Okay, but this is where it gets really fascinating. These are the markers that totally set him apart from our world. He wears his clothes backwards, a classic sign that he belongs to an alternate reality, a wrong world with its own set of rules. He casts no shadow, which basically untethers him from our physical laws. And his origin is often as a cursed child, cut off from the human world and claimed by the woods. He is fundamentally other.
And being from this other world gives him some pretty unique powers. His signature move, the ability to make a person blood, which basically means to wander. It's a form of psychological disorientation, where he makes you lose your bearings and just walk in endless circles.
And this quote just nails it. See, he doesn't come at you with claws or teeth. No, he turns the very forest you know, the one that gives life, into an inescapable psychological labyrinth. He literally weaponizes your own perception against you.
But here's the thing. You can't just pigeonhole him as a simple enforcer. The Leshy has this dual nature. On one hand, yeah, he's a dispassionate regulator who rewards respect and punishes greed. But on the other hand, he's a totally capricious trickster who might hide your axe for fun. Or, and get this, in some of the darker tales, he can literally tickle you to death. Yeah, that unpredictability is what makes him such a formidable guardian.
All right, so that's the theory. How does this all play out? Let's get into our main piece of evidence, the recurring story of Ivan the Lumberjack. We're going to treat this like a real case file and break down the Leshy's Protocol step by step.
First up, the charges against Ivan. His crimes basically fall into two buckets. You've got his ecological sins, pure greed, taking way more wood than he needs, and just wanton destruction, like breaking young trees for fun. But those are really just symptoms of his deeper moral sins, his arrogance, his disrespect, and his failure to leave the customary offerings. He's just acting like he owns the place.
And this all boils down to the Leshy's central question for Ivan. You take much, what do you give? I mean, that cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This is a two-way relationship, not a one-way street for extraction. Now the punishment is just brilliant because it's tailored perfectly to the crime. This isn't about physical pain, it's about psychologically tearing down Ivan's arrogance. First, the Leshy messes with his senses by changing size really fast. Then he triggers that blood, making paths shift and twist back on themselves. Finally, he wages actual psychological warfare, mimicking the voices of Ivan's family to lure him deeper and deeper into danger. The man who thought he mastered the forest is made to feel completely and utterly powerless.
So how on earth does Ivan get out of this mess? The solution is wild. He has to turn his clothes inside out and switch his shoes to the opposite feet. And this isn't some random magic trick. It's a deeply symbolic act. First, it's an act of total humility. You're literally shedding your human pride. And second, by copying the Leshy's wrong look, you're showing that you finally understand the forest's otherworldly logic. Only then does the path home finally appear.
So you see, the story of Ivan isn't just a spooky tale. It's basically a legal precedent set in a story. And from his whole ordeal, we can actually pull out a clear set of laws, the unwritten law of the wild. Okay, so law number 1.
It's the principle of sustainable use. Basically, take only what you need. This is a direct shot at Ivan's greed. Access to the forest's resources is based on need, not want. It's all about ensuring the long-term health of the ecosystem.
All right, on to law number 2, and this one flows right from the first.
This is the principle of reciprocity and respect. You know those offerings Ivan forgot to leave? That wasn't just superstition. Think of it like a symbolic tax or a handshake. It's you formally recognizing that you're entering a sovereign domain and have a social contract with its guardian.
And that brings us to the third, and arguably the most important law of all.
The principle of humility. At the end of the day, in the Leshy's world, human arrogance is the biggest crime you can commit. The whole punishment system, everything he does, is designed to shatter that sense of human dominance and remind you, you are a guest in nature's house, not the master.
So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, the Leshy is so much more than a monster. He's the warden, the enforcer of an ancient green code. He is a truly sophisticated cultural tool for maintaining ecological balance using the one thing that lasts forever, a good story.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. The Leshy Protocol shows us how one culture wove its environmental ethics right into its folklore. And it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What ancient rules for living with nature have we forgotten?